Hi, I'm Christine. Thanks for joining me. I'm thrilled to have you here for what I hope is the start of a new direction for you, with tools for more peaceful parenting. In this web class, I'm going to reveal the number one secret to staying effortlessly calm, no matter how outrageous their behavior gets. How to trust your teens to have the freedom they want without the worry you hate. And how to give teens instant self-esteem to beat cyberbullying, social phobia, and anxieties. I assume you clicked through to this web class because you're searching for something, for answers, looking to fix the relationship with your child, to learn a system for discipline and calm for your home. Well, I know all about that search. I've been a parent and teen coach and mentor for 10 years, and I'm the mother to 3 young adults aged between 19 and 23, and another who lives permanently with us. I also mentor homeless teenagers, so I've seen and heard every type of problem and issue that affect young adults and their families. The great news is that if you're here taking time out of your day to listen and master something new, then I already know you're a great parent, doing the best you can with what you currently know every day. You'll also be delighted to hear that this isn't about learning more techniques, how-tos, or systems that you then try and trot out in the heat of an argument and fail miserably at. Instead, I'm going to be pointing you in another direction, away from doing more, simply by utilizing what you already have, but have forgotten about. A way to do less and still achieve calmer, happier relationships with your teens. So all you have to do is grab a cup or a glass of something cold, relax and listen. Listen by putting aside what you already know to consider something deeper, the most underrated factor in human relationships, the power of knowing where your experience is really coming from. So let's start with a question. Is it possible for your teen's behavior, attitude, and messy bedroom to stay exactly the same, but for everything to feel different, easier, and calmer? Never, I hear you say. Well, I disagree. Let me show you how. Would you like to stay effortlessly calm, no matter what they were doing, no matter how outrageous? Would you like the possibility of dealing with teenage mood swings without being dragged into their dramas? Because your mood is like a pair of glasses that colours everything you see. Your feelings are telling you about the glasses you're wearing and not what you're looking at. And I know this because of my own experiences. My daughter used to be perpetually late. When she got insecure thoughts about what outfit would look best, how her hair should be, how she really didn't want to go anyway, invariably I got the blame. Something wasn't clean. I didn't give enough warning. I was making her go somewhere against her wishes. Does all this sound familiar? It used to then descend into a slanging match as I would go on the defensive, taking her comments personally, feeling criticised unfairly, and I would just shout louder from the bottom of the stairs, hoping in some magical way that that would hurry her up, and we would end up in the car, late, cross, and not speaking. But I began to see things differently and learn about a different way of being in these situations, and then everything began to change. Imagine yourself unexpectedly walking onto a patch of ice. You start to flail your arms around and contort your body in all sorts of ways to regain your balance. And when your child, or you, have insecure thoughts about the future, about what's possible, about what other people think, they also, like you, have to do all sorts of things to try and restore their emotional balance. Sometimes they shout and scream. Some of them withdraw. Some get angry and blame others. And when I saw that my daughter's behavior was being driven by insecurity, I could take her shouting less seriously, and more importantly, less personally, realizing her mood didn't need to be fixed. Her thoughts weren't permanent, but rather it was just a passing storm of thoughts. And I could see that left alone, it would blow over and leave behind that little ray of sunshine that I knew she was. And by seeing that too, I struggled in the same way sometimes, gave me compassion for all her upset. And by holding on to who she really was under that upset, calm, confident, loving, kind, and wise girl. When I spoke to that person behind the storm, not the harridan I saw in front of me, it helped her to settle more quickly. When you as a parent can see past the behaviour to who they really are, they feel that love and possibility for themselves. When all you can see is that they're making you angry and you're disappointed again and that they've let you down again, they only hear your anger, disappointment, and upset. And then they feel criticised and defensive, just like I used to, and feel even more insecure. Think back to those halcyon days of toddlerhood when they thought, I want it now, and screamed. And then they saw, oh, lovely lollipop, changed their thinking and smiled. You thought it was cute. They were living in the moment. No grudges, no self-doubt or criticism, no trying to fix their feelings, no trying to stop bad feelings or chase a good feeling. We essentially all still live moment to moment, 100% of the time. Our feelings are coming from thought, moment to moment. But unlike a toddler, somehow along the way we've learnt to judge good or bad feelings, worry about how to feel better sooner, worry about how others are feeling. And all of this stacking of thoughts, one on top of the other, holds us in these moods and states of mind for longer than necessary. When you see more clearly that your child is simply caught up in their own personal thought storm, you can stay calm. It's no longer personal. You can feel compassion for them, and they in turn feel that too. When I saw this in my daughter, soon enough the episodes became less stressful and fraught. And nothing had changed about her timekeeping or disorganisation. But everything had changed. I saw her shouting merely as a bad habit. I saw with compassion that she was struggling to keep her balance in the only way she knew how. So I could effortlessly stay calm. It wasn't about me. And the love I felt for her struggle helped me see that she was okay. And so the mood, the insecure thoughts, and the behaviour changed more quickly, until they hardly happened at all. I had learned a deep understanding that the 100% of my experience was generated by the energy of thought, not coming from her shouting, but from my thought in that moment. Nothing happens in your experience without the energy and power of thought. And I learned that when I took off the glasses, that meant I saw her as irritating and annoying. Everything else began to change. And so that meant that I'd learned something new that allowed me to trust them. To trust teens to have the freedom they want without the worry you hate. So you can let them go with confidence, that they can make good decisions, protect themselves from peer pressure, and find their own innate value. Because it's possible that many of the things that you've been experiencing as problems until now are a reflection of the mistaken belief that your thinking was real. This truth that we're always feeling our thinking means that no one thinks the same thoughts or sees the world as you do. We live in separate realities, but we can't seem to remember this when we get angry and insecure. I often find myself thinking, as I'm sure you do, that the world would just be a much better, easier place if only everyone thought like me and agreed with me. And with our adult heads on and our years of experience, we try and influence our children to think and act like we do. It makes perfect sense to us, so why wouldn't it make perfect sense to them? But in this way, some teens get scared by fears that belong to their parents, not them. We begin with all the right intentions, but often get the wrong results. We forget that our children and our partners don't think like us and never will. So we say things like, you must work hard at school, so you'll never get a good job without it. And your good intention was, I want them to be successful and leave home and be independent. But they begin to think, I don't want to disappoint my parents, so now I feel pressure not to let them down, and now I'm paralysed in case I mess up. And you got the opposite results to the ones you wanted. We unwittingly restrict our children with our own limiting beliefs. That's not possible. That's dangerous. Other people don't do that. And we forget that they're not thinking or seeing the same things that we are. But however much we want them to work hard and be successful, no exam can ever test for confidence, emotional intelligence, or kindness, the kind of skills that lead to real success in relationships and life. And they don't teach that the core of who we really are and the core of who they really are means that we already have everything we'll ever need: confidence, creativity, courage, kindness, and self-worth. All available to us all the time. Before all that personal thinking, before our default I can't thinking. And your hopes and fears for their success is just that, yours, not theirs. So we need to get curious and find out what their world is like. We need to ask non-judgmental questions. Things like, that's interesting. Tell me more about what that feels like to you. I see it differently. Tell me more about how you see it so I can understand. I'll give you this example of my niece. She told her mum that she didn't want to go back to university after the first term. Her mum immediately jumped in with all her fears and the wrong conclusions. Are you okay? Are you being bullied? Are you struggling with the work? Are they forcing drinks and drugs on you? Do you have friends? My niece just laughed. But wait, before I tell you what her real problem was, let me tell you about a special offer for those who are quick enough to grab a spot. A free Tame My Teen breakthrough call. On this call, we'll create a crystal vision of how you'd like your home life and relationships with your children to be. We'll uncover hidden challenges that might be sabotaging your parenting success. We'll create a 5-part plan to move forward and have the stress-free, peaceful home life you've always wanted. And you'll get renewed and re-energized and totally inspired to finally start being friends with your kids. So just paste the link into your browser and book your free session. I'd love to talk to all of you, but I have limited time and spaces, so only book in if you definitely benefit from my help to resolve what's critical to you right now. So back to the story. What she actually said was, "No, I'm not scared of those things. I'm just scared of going back on the train." "Ah," said her mum, "that I understand. Let's have another look at the journey and all the changes and see how you can resolve this." And it's amazing how really being listened to without judgment or advice can help them sort their own problems. When you have less of your worry on your mind, you're clear to listen fully. When they feel heard, they can hear themselves and things always look clearer. It's also an essential life lesson that they don't need to look outside of them for the answer. They have all the innate wisdom they need to solve things for themselves or find the help that's right for them. I can hear your thoughts again. Ha, wisdom, you're saying. They do such stupid things. I worry about them all the time. I used to think that worry was useful, that it helped me focus on what needed fixing. But really, I was just running through my thoughts with a bucket on my head, not seeing the solution. I needed to step back, be more humble, and admit sometimes that I didn't know the answer. So then we could get curious together and find a solution that worked. You know, one of my sons spent at least 2 years of his life holed up in a darkened room playing video games. We worried, of course. Would he ever have any friends, a girlfriend, a job? We read doom stories about how video games affect social skills. We argued about how much time he could have online, but he always knew how to find his way back to the real world. When we eased up, and believe me, it took lots of gritting of teeth not to drag him away from that damn box, we found out he was doing all sorts of clever things. He was honing his strategic thinking. He was problem solving. He was coding and modifying games. He was meeting friends, running servers and supervising the users. He left school at 16 because he knew formal learning wasn't for him. Guess what? He's now a highly successful, well-paid programmer who loves his job, has a fantastic social life and is a hit with the girls. Who knew? None of my worry would have changed the outcome, but it would have caused years more arguing and may eventually have ruined our connection and relationship. His own innate wisdom was leading him on a path that only he could follow. The motivation has to be theirs, not yours. And that motivation you're looking for is innate. They already have it, and you don't need to nag it into them. They just need to uncover it. If you feel they're off track, I would ask, what track? Who's expecting a track that only directs children in one way? Parents get tied up in wanting the best for their children and then feel guilt or failure at anything less than perfection. Teens need a model of how to fail well, how to try without judgment, and how to experiment more with life. Because when everything is just an experiment, the pressure's off. Show them that you try things and fail. Let them see that we're all human, all in the same boat, and are struggling with the same things. And don't let your limited thinking show them what they're capable of. Instead, let them experience their edge rather than live in your safety zone. And allow them to grow without experience of feeling scared of anything outside, anything new. No more trying to fix them. They were born perfect and still are. Think back again to those toddler days. When was the last time you praised your teen just for being themselves? When were you last present and really listened to them with curiosity? Not with, I know how to fix that, on your mind. When was the last time you saw how amazing they are, and not just for something they'd achieved? Let them go out into the world from a really secure, loving place of being okay with who they are. So finally, how can we help them find instant self-esteem to beat cyberbullying, social phobias, and anxiety? And this lovely quote, if the only thing people learned was not to be afraid of their experience, that alone would change the world. It's so important in this section. Because as you put the secrets of 1 and 2 into practice, you begin to see that whatever the situation or behavior in front of you, you can remain calm. Your relationship with your teen will become quieter, more loving and respectful. And all of this will, in turn, help your child to solve more problems for themselves and allow them to get closer and closer to who they really are. And the more we point them back in moments of insecurity to the truest version of themselves, the confident, calm, driven, passionate teen, the more secure they feel. When they love themselves, faults and all, when they love watching their moods change like a toddler without being afraid, or wanting to fix or change a feeling, they gain instantaneous self-esteem. With this secure base, they can stay safe as they make better decisions based on their truth, their values, and not those of their peers. This understanding of how we really work frees them from anxiety. Imagine if you mistakenly thought that Instagram made you feel bad, or good, depending on whose feed you were looking at. If a comment or criticism online could make you feel upset or insecure. If you had the misunderstanding that your feelings were coming from these places, then you'd be sunk. Because now you have to control all of those feeds, comments, and posts to make yourself feel okay. Trying to control the uncontrollable induces anxiety because you have nowhere to go, no end to what you think is creating the feelings. No end to controlling other people, those posts, the way you act, the way you have to behave to do things right. When you're caught in the illusion that your feelings are dictated by outside circumstances, you feel helpless and out of control. And it's a bitter pill that Facebook and Instagram and the people that post on there are not party to your feelings. It helps enormously to know that you are creating those feelings of anxiety, fear, loneliness, and unworthiness. Not any situation or object outside of you. Now you have control back. Now you can choose what you listen to and what you don't, what thoughts you action and which ones you just let drift on by. And at the core of it all, the security of knowing that you're always okay. that nothing outside of you can hurt you and nothing outside of you can help, but that you already are and already have everything you need. Just imagine your teens knowing this. Knowing this not just on an intellectual level, but an embodied knowing. You could parent calmly and confidently, knowing that there's nothing to fix. And they could move into adulthood from a secure emotional base. Think how different your life would have been if you'd have known all of this as a teenager. If you could show them how to enjoy the ebb and flow of the human experience without fear of that experience, how different things would be. Well, I know I can help your family. I have a few free spots open for a Turnaround My Teen breakthrough call. Find out how this understanding can help in your life to calm arguments, restore discipline, so that you can be friends with your teen again. On this 45-minute free call, we'll create a crystal clear vision of how you'd like your life and relationships with your children to be. Uncover those hidden challenges that sabotage you every time. Create a 5-part plan to move forward and have the stress-free, peaceful home life you've always wanted. Get renewed, re-energized, and totally inspired to finally start being friends with your kids. And much, much more. I really look forward to helping those lucky enough to grab their sport. Grab that chance to change your family life forever. So what are you waiting for? Thank you for listening, and I hope to speak to you individually on a call soon.